Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. And if you're just visiting, please consider subscribing. So today I'm going to do another tag, and this one has been created a long time ago. I think it was created in the beauty community. Who it was created by, I couldn't figure out, but it's been going around for a long time. And the name of the tag is Confessions of a Content Creator. And I've seen this tag done by many people, and somehow it never really, sort of stuck with me. It never really interested me this much. I don't know why. And then I saw Claire Smith do this tag maybe a month or two ago, and I really enjoyed her take on this tag. I really enjoyed her sincerity in her responses, and I really wanted to do this tag as well. It has a lot of really interesting questions. I mean, these are not really fragrance related per se. I'm not going to be showing any bottles or anything. This is more of a conversation, sort of sharing my experiences on YouTube, my thoughts about YouTube and fragrance community, etc. So I think there are a lot of really interesting questions in here. Some of them will have very short answers, and some of them will have slightly longer answers. I have a bit more to say when responding to some of them. So I don't want to get this very long. Let's just get started. I think there are 15 or so questions. So, question number 1. How do you feel about the term influencer, and are you one? I do not consider myself an influencer at all. I consider myself a fragrance enthusiast, a fragrance lover. I love sharing fragrances with you. I love telling you about my experiences with fragrances and hearing back from you about your experiences. That's really what it is. I am not an influencer. What do I think about the term in general? It's a great term. Why not? There's nothing wrong with it. For me personally, I sort of make my own judgment as to who I consider an influencer. And it depends on a number of things. It depends on their knowledge. It depends on their honesty and sincerity, etc. So I kind of made that judgment for myself, who would I consider an influencer and who I wouldn't. But in general, I have no issues with this term at all. Number 2. How did you decide to be a content creator? Well, I think I've talked about it, before. It's a pretty, I think, similar story to many of you. This happened at the beginning of pandemic, when all of us were sitting at home. This sort of coincided a little bit with sort of this obsession that I got about fragrances. And, because I have no friends in real life who are as interested in fragrances as I am, I have no one to really talk to about this. So, I was looking for others that enjoyed fragrances as much as I did. And especially when I started seeing other women on YouTube and in fragrance community that I could relate to, I thought, well, maybe I should try that too. Let me just try, and see where it goes. I had absolutely no plans. I had no idea if I was going to continue to do it, what's going to happen. I don't know. I just thought, okay, let me film a video and post it and see what happens. And so, yeah, that's how I started. Number 3, what's your own experience with knowing other content creators? Overall, if we look at the big picture, I have to say it's been a very positive experience. Now, I've only met one other creator in person. That's Frances from Happiness Sparkles. We met, maybe it's been 3 years ago, I think. And it's been absolutely wonderful meeting her. She actually brought a hat that she makes as a present for my daughter, and my daughter still wears that hat, and it's absolutely her favorite hat. I think her company is called Nora Knits, if I'm not mistaken. They have an Instagram account, so I'm gonna link it in the description. But it's a beautiful hat. She actually lost it at some point at school, and she was absolutely devastated. And thankfully, somebody put it in their backpack by mistake. So we got it the next day, and she's very happy, and she continues to wear this hat. She absolutely loves it. And so it's been wonderful meeting her in person. And of course, I've communicated with, many other creators. And like I said, overall experience has been very positive. Number 4, do you accept sponsorships, and how do you feel about them? So I want to elaborate a little bit on this question because I think it's an important question. It's something that I have a lot of thoughts about, and I kind of just want to share those thoughts with you. Let's talk about, I guess, me first. Do I accept sponsorships? Now, even for a tiny channel like me, surprisingly, I get offered things quite often. And, when we talk about sponsorships, it could be, offers to pay for, advertising or talking about certain thing. It could be that they're going to send me, some free items to talk about, whatever. I'm kind of putting all of that under one umbrella of sponsorship. So yeah, I do get, a significant number of offers. However, majority of those offers are for jewelry companies, handbag companies, silk products, makeup, vitamins, and, whatever else you can think of. And I think for those of you that watch my channel regularly, you will know that I have never talked about any of those things. And that is because I decline all of these offers. Absolutely no judgment to anyone who accepts them and does them. It's a completely individual thing. But for me, my channel is about fragrances. That's it. I don't talk about anything else on this channel. And it just feels strange all of a sudden to start talking about a handbag or jewelry or whatever else. So for me, and that's what I say when I reply to them. Thank you for the offer, but my channel is about fragrances, and these things do not relate to fragrances at all. And so I do not accept them. I don't talk about them. I've also had some fragrance offers, and when those come in, I always take a look at what it is that I'm being offered, and it happened a couple of times where, I was offered a fragrance, and, in exchange, I would feature it somewhere in a video. And when I looked at that fragrance, I realized right away, sometimes you can just tell from the notes, this is not my thing at all. I am not going to like this fragrance. Like, I knew that with 100% certainty, and so if I accept it, well, what's the point of accepting it? I'm not going to use it, so it's just going to sit here and collect dust. Why? And then what do I do when I talk about it? So I only see sort of two options. Either A, I talk negatively about it because I don't like it, but why accept it and then talk negatively about it when I knew that going in? Or, I fib and tell you that I do like it just to please the company, but that's never going to happen on this channel. So, I decline those as well. So does this mean I'm never going to accept any fragrance offers that are going to come in? No, absolutely not. If I'm being offered something that I think that I'm really going to enjoy, or something that I'm really curious about and I really want to test out, yes, I will agree, provided that, of course, that I can speak about it honestly. But otherwise, no. The other thing is clones, because those types of offers come in as well, and I declined them as well because, again, this is my personal opinion, my personal choice, but I am not a fan of clones. I don't really talk about clones on my channel, and so why would I ever accept them? That's just, again, nothing wrong with that, but for me, that's just not something that I enjoy or use. Now, if you've been with me for a really long time, you might remember that at the very, very beginning of my channel, I did do one video for a clone house. And what happened with that is that when they offered it to me, I didn't know. I think they were very new at that point and they didn't advertise themselves as a clone house. And I didn't realize that that's what they were until I received the fragrances, which is when, I sort of realized that these were clones. So because I already had them, I posted the video, but that's one and only time, like I said, at the very, very beginning of my channel, and that's never going to happen again. So that's what I think, and that's what I do with sponsorship offers. Now, what do I think about them in general? Like I said, there is nothing wrong with them. We all make our own sort of choices and decisions about them. There's no judgment here. I do what's right for me, and every person does what's right for them. The only thing I would say is, my I guess advice for you as a viewer, because I follow the same advice because I am really more of a viewer than a creator or influencer or anything like that. When you see reviews on sponsored or PR products, take them with a grain of salt. Use your own judgment whether you choose to completely believe what's being said or not, because I think there exists this tendency of, exaggerating slightly when you've been sponsored or when things were sent to you. It does happen. So take them with a grain of salt, make your own judgments, who you're going to choose to believe completely, who maybe you will question. I don't know. Again, I'm not throwing shade at anyone. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. This is just what I do when I watch sponsored content. So, if I could give you advice, that's what I would say. Okay, let's go to number 5. Number 4 took a long time. So number 5, have you ever had an experience with a brand that left a bad taste in your mouth? If I did this tag a couple of months ago, I would have said a definitive no. But I did have an experience with a brand, and it wasn't as a creator, it wasn't anything to do with PR or anything like that. It was purely as a consumer. I did have a very unpleasant experience with a brand, unfortunately. And it's a brand that I've talked about very highly on my channel. It's a brand that I've really enjoyed. I have sort of, let's say 1.5 fragrances from them. And I've had, quite an unpleasant experience with them that I did not appreciate. It was resolved at the end, but what it took to get to that resolution was not pleasant. So I'm not going to name the brand here, but and like I said, I have, full bottle and a travel spray from this brand. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Probably I'm going to continue using them. I don't know. But what I know for sure is that I will not be featuring this brand on my channel anymore. I just don't want to, Customer service is really, really important to me. Really, it is. And, to be honest, one of my big sort of pet peeves is when brands treat regular customer and influencer in a different way. And believe me, this happens. This really happens. I really respect brands that treat everyone the same. That's what I expect. And, anyways, I don't want to, dwell on this negativity, but let's just say, yes, I've had an unpleasant experience with a brand that I spoke about quite highly, and I will not be talking about this brand on my channel anymore. Number 6, how do you feel about negative comments? Well, I sort of, when I started uploading videos, I realized there will be negative comments. And I have to say, overall, I don't think I've had a lot of negative comments at all. They're mostly very, very positive and good type of comments, but negative comments do happen. And, I knew it was going to happen. At the beginning, I sort of try to respond to these negative comments, try to, make sense of them, try to maybe convince them that they were wrong, whatever. And what I realized with time is that why bother? If they have something bad to say, it's on them. It's their issues that they're dealing with. It has nothing to do with me. Plus, I have so little time. I barely have time to respond to all the wonderful comments that you leave me. Why would I waste time on negative comments? So I just don't care at this point. I will either ignore it completely, or I might delete it if it's really ugly and just move on. I usually read them to my husband, we have a good laugh, and we move on. I just don't care. At this point, honestly, I don't care. I don't deal with them at all. Number 7, what's your biggest pet peeve when it comes to comments? I don't have any pet peeves, honestly. I mean, all I ask always is that you be polite. If you have criticism, make it a constructive criticism, don't leave any, nasty, ugly comments. That's really it. But do I have any specific pet peeves? I really don't. Number 8, what's your favorite part of being a content creator? This one is easy. It is, it might be, sort of an expected answer, but this is the true answer. It's you. All of you that watch my videos, that comment on my videos, it's all my viewers and subscribers. That's absolutely, unequivocally the best part of YouTube, because, I found the people, the friends that I was looking for. I found like-minded people that I can talk to about this love or obsession with fragrances, and I just love chatting with you. I love hearing, your opinions and your views and your suggestions, and it's absolutely the best part of being a creator. Number 9, what's your least favorite part of being a content creator? Well, that's having enough time to do this, really, because I am a bit of a perfectionist in life, and it's really hard for me not to be a perfectionist when I create these videos. That's about everything. It's about, sometimes you say something wrong in the video, because obviously these are not scripted. And then when I edit it, I hear it and I'm like, oh my God, it's cringy. I have to refilm, I have to redo, but I just don't have time. Or sometimes, your hair doesn't look the right way, or sometimes I want to respond to every single comment, and sometimes I just don't have time. So it's really not having enough time, because this is just a hobby for me. I have a pretty demanding full-time job. I have a daughter, I have a family. My life is busy. It's really busy, and this is just a hobby. And so I want to do it as perfectly as I can, and sometimes it's just not enough time. So that's really the biggest challenge for me, and the part that I like the least. Number 10, do you edit your own content? Do you enjoy it? Yes, of course, I edit my own content, and I really enjoy it. When I started, I knew absolutely nothing about editing. I knew nothing. And I just started learning, and yes, I don't do anything fancy with my editing, but whatever I do, I really, really enjoy. I have to tell you, this is probably my favorite part of the process. I, for some reason, really enjoy editing videos. So yeah, I do it myself and I enjoy it. Number 11, where do you draw the line in regard to sharing on social media? Well, there's no specific line. I just kind of use my gut, whatever I feel comfortable sharing, I share. And whatever I don't want to share, I don't share, each instant, each event is treated individually. I just go with how I feel at that moment, what I feel comfortable sharing. And there are no specific rules. It's just, I treat each case individually, basically. Number 12, name one thing that you wish that you knew when you were starting out. Well, when I started out, because I knew, like I said, I knew nothing about editing. I knew nothing about being a creator, nothing about YouTube. I didn't even know how to upload a video at first, And I really started learning everything at first. And I watched a lot of videos talking about, YouTube algorithm and SEO and, having catchy titles and thumbnails and blah, 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 And I really tried to follow all of these suggestions, and I was really doing everything that they suggested, and I was watching the numbers carefully. And what I realize now, and I've known that for a long time, is that, at the end of the day, none of that matters. It's not really about that. No one truly knows what this YouTube algorithm is or how it works. It's just a thing of mystery, I think. And I'm just never going to figure it out, and it's never going to be about that, So I stopped obsessing over numbers. Again, if you've been with me from the beginning, you'll know that originally I had my subscribe accounts open for a while, then I closed them. Then recently, I think they opened because that's the rule that YouTube changed. I don't know. But the reason that I closed them is because I was just getting a little too obsessed with numbers. I kept checking the numbers all the time and I didn't like it. That's not what YouTube is about for me. So I didn't like it. And for that reason, I thought, okay, let me close it so I don't see them all the time and I stopped thinking about them. And you know what? It really did help me, to be honest. And so by the time the numbers became visible again, at that point, I didn't care, like all of that initial obsession that I had with doing everything again perfectly and correct and having the high CEO and all of that, I don't care at this point. This is not what it's about. So, I kind of wish that I wasn't as obsessed with those things at the beginning, but it's part of the learning curve. So at the end of the day, no big deal. Number 13. Is there any change that you'd like to make to your content in the future? Theoretically speaking, yes. There are two things that I would like. One, I would like to continue, and that's talking about maybe lesser known brands and lesser known fragrances, finding these hidden gems that maybe not many talk about. I think I do quite a lot of that on my channel, and I would love to continue, even though this content is not popular at all, but I enjoy that. And so, I would love to share that with you. The other thing in theory that I would like to do is maybe adding some videos about, sort of day in the life or vlogs or anything like that. But the problem is, there are two. One, I lead a pretty boring life. There's not much to show. And to be honest, I don't feel very comfortable filming in public. I just don't. And so for those reasons, I think it's very unlikely for this type of content to appear on my channel. But it's something that's always at the back of my mind. So perhaps one day, I have no idea, but I would like to do that, but just not sure if it's really realistic. Number 14, and we're almost done. Which content creator do you admire and would you like to collaborate with? Well, I admire many, many creators. There are so many wonderful creators on YouTube. It's really, I can't single out anyone. Who would I like to collaborate with? Again, there are many that I would like to collaborate with, but if I had to name a name, I'm not going to surprise anyone here. I love Sebastian. I love his channel. If I had a chance to collaborate with him, hey, I'm all for it. Number 15. What kind of content do you hate? Well, first of all, hate is a strong word. Let's take it out. And let's talk about content that I don't enjoy. And that relates to something that I already said in another question when I was talking about sponsorships. I do not enjoy clones. I just don't. And so I don't want to create content about that. And I also don't enjoy watching content about clones. The two are really related. I just don't. That's not something that I enjoy. So I typically don't watch videos about clones. Again, nothing wrong with them. Just for me, that's not something that I'm interested in. And number 16, have you ever had to deal with cancel culture? If so, how? That's a tough one. I'm kind of, it's a shame that this tag ends on this question because the answer is kind of yes and no. Again, I don't want to dwell on this, but as always, I'm giving you honest answers. And for those that have been with me for a while, you might have seen a post from me maybe a year or year and a half ago where I talked about, somebody kind of harassing and bullying me, someone from fragrance community, another creator, which came out of absolutely nowhere, accused me of some strange things. Of course, these things never happened. Was completely out of, I don't know. It came out of nowhere. And thankfully this this person has stayed away for me from that point. That's all I ask is, please, whatever issue you have with me, which is probably issues that that person has with themselves, just stay away from me. So yeah, I'm not gonna name any names, I'm not gonna dwell on this, but I'm just gonna share with you the most ironic thing about this whole situation is that a couple of weeks before this incident happened, I made a video about about other channels that I really enjoyed, other channels that I was highlighting, and this was one of the channels that I highlighted in that video. And then a couple of weeks later, this thing happened. Whatever, it's been put to rest. I don't care at this point. Like I said, all I want is for that person to stay away from me. But yeah, that definitely happened, and it was very strange. But again, let me reiterate here, overall, my experience with other creators has been very, very positive and lovely experience. So there you go. These are my thoughts on this tag, Confessions of a Content Creator. I think it's a very interesting tag, very different, from typical tags that we do. And yeah, I really enjoyed answering these questions. I think it gives you an opportunity to kind of get to know me a little bit better and my thoughts on these topics and, the experiences that I've had on YouTube so far. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to comment, subscribe, and like this video. And I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.